Welcome to Relationships Through the Looking Glass. While here in Wonderland, we're going to discuss topics and share stories to help clear up distorted views of relationships. We provide a safe place for balance and honest conversation. While each episode can help all who listen, the focus will be on the community of color. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. I want to thank everybody who's been giving us feedback. We've gotten a lot of new energy over the past 2 weeks, a lot of new listeners, so thank you for that too. Today we're going to be talking about some real self-evaluation. The last few episodes we've been kind of looking outside, external. Today we're going to be doing some internal work, kind of telling on ourselves, kind of diving a little bit deeper to see what's going on with ourselves, but also to kind of give you all some information, some, I don't want to say advice, but just things that worked for us and things that haven't, and maybe allow you guys to open up some discussion on your end about this topic of how you handle breakups. Like, what's your breakup profile? And the breakup could be a break, like you're taking a break from somebody and you're going back, or a breakup is completely severing and moving on to somebody else. But everybody pretty much has a breakup profile. How do you handle it? How do you do self-assessment and evaluation? And how do you know when you're ready to try again or just choose to stay by yourself? So these are some of the topics we're going to talk about. We're calling it the aftermath. And we're going to jump in after we do a mental health check. So, Chris, how are you, Chris? How's life in Virginia, Chris?
It's all good. We're dealing with all this pollen allergies, which sucks. But
make your head swell up bigger than it already is.
Man, my head get any bigger. I just leave it at that.
You stop it.
I'll just leave it at that. But I mean, it's all good. The weather is getting good, and it's all good up here in VA.
We're playing in VA. That's what's up.
Oh, Keisha. How you doing?
I'm on a natural high right now. I'm doing very well.
You can't help it with all these freaking clowns we got, right? We got a whole circus going on.
This week has been better than last week. So that I must say. Looking forward to better weeks to come.
Every day is a better day, right?
Yeah.
Marcus, how you doing?
My week's been good. No problems. I just microphone. Had no issues. Talk about. Very positive.
Okay, great. My week has been
y'all crazy.
All right, my week's been great. My week's been short. It's been extremely busy, and it just felt like this week didn't exist. So, oh boy, I can't complain. If y'all would see some of the blooper reels and outtakes from this editing from this show, I think I might make one at the end of the season, because holy cow. Yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into the first question here. And myself and Marcus, we're going to tag team how we flow. So hopefully we don't have any issues here. But I want to talk about, how do you rebound after a breakup? So this is individualistic. Your personal response or your breakup profile. When you go through a breakup, and not necessarily like, okay, one or twice I did this. Like, what is your standard type of operating procedure after you go through a breakup? It doesn't matter who caused the breakup, but what do you do? Chris, starting with you.
I don't think there's anything that I do in particular. I mean, I think I've only had maybe a handful of like true relationships. Now, I've had times where I've broken up with people or had people break up with me that I didn't know we were in a relationship. But I mean, I think kind of the relationships that I were in, the breakup, I mean, I kind of take some time to just, I'll go into my like lonely place and just kind of self-reflect.
Okay. So you go to a lonely place. What does that lonely place look like, Chris?
I mean, I don't know. I just like to be by myself. Think think about different things. Think about like where I'm at, what I'm doing, and then just seeing what I'm gonna do as far as moving forward. Now, I mean, sometimes it has taken a lot longer than other times, or I've also had times where it's just start acting out. But we'll just leave it at that.
Nah. What's that mean? What's acting out?
Acting out. I plead the fifth.
And that's why your ass probably got broken up with. So moving on to Keisha. Woo, she gonna fly in this.
Wow.
What? That would be edited out. Okay, so Keisha.
Child. Okay, so for me, if I'm breaking up with somebody, I mean, they're definitely gonna get blocked. They're gonna be blocked in my phone. If we're friends on social media, I'm going to more than likely unfriend them, or I might let them hang on for a little while. And it's kind of weird because what I do is if we had any pictures together, I kind of like put them in the hidden file on my phone so I don't have to really see it. And then it sits there for a while. And then as I get over that person, then I start deleting pictures. I am going to delete a couple of pictures when the breakup happens. But then as time go on, I'll delete more pictures. I'll delete text messages. And then at some point when I'm over them, then I unblock them on my phone. Now, those of you who are listening who may be an ex, do not call me. But I will eventually just unblock them on my phone. It's just, I know it may not make sense to other people, but for me, that helps me. Like I have to close all communications with this person so that I can allow myself time to get over them.
Okay. So you kind of similar to what Chris said. Chris said he went to his sad place. You kind of pull away too. And
yeah.
You did say you go to your sad place. Chris.
Yeah, I will pull away as well, but I need to block them off. Like I don't want them texting me the next morning, how you doing, how you feeling, how you don't talk to me. I need that clean break so that I can deal with my feelings. And part of dealing with my feelings and processing is cutting them off.
Okay. That makes sense. And giving yourself time. And that's something you and Chris both sound like you guys do. Give yourself some time. What about you, Marcus? How do you, what is your like breakup profile?
I basically just move on. I release that person. Maybe like, I don't, maybe quick. I tend to like fall back myself. Probably hang around, fill that space with like family time or going out, things like that. That space that was usually filled with that person, and get over it like that. Try not to like be boo-hooing or crying or nothing like that over nobody, but just move it on. Just take a break and just that part, hang out, family, occupy my time, do other things.
All right. So it sounds like with Keisha and Chris given time to separate themselves, you throw yourself straight on in.
I do. I go in. I go in, I go hard.
You just jump on in to some other activity. Okay. Woo! That's cool. I think for me, and that's good because it's a different dynamic than what we just heard. For me, it depends on who it is. I have had the ability to cut somebody off to like they are literally dead to me. And I know there's something called an INFJ door slam. If you don't know about it, read about it. It's like a for real thing. And the person is literally dead to me, like dead. Like I could pass them in the street and it wouldn't even register that I used to smash you. You know what I'm saying? Like dead. Now, usually that happens if somebody has been like screwing with me over and over and over and over and over again until you just tap out and I mentally just disengage. Now, there's been other situations where I mean, for me, it really just comes down to who the person is, how the breakup happened, why the breakup happened. I will say though, for every one of them, I do have a shutdown. So I guess similar to Chris's sad place and Keisha blocking everybody, I just go into shutdown mode. Like I cease to exist for everybody else. And Keisha can probably co-sign for me because when I was going through my divorce, people didn't even know I still lived in the state for like 3 years. So I go into heavy shutdown mode. I don't talk to anybody. I don't interact with anybody. I don't call people now, but I don't call people regularly. I don't respond to text messages. Like I literally shut down until I'm able to recoup and then push back on in a whole nother space. So that's for anyone. Like there is a shutdown mode. Depending on how it happened, depends on how long that lasts. Like I said, for my divorce, it was for years. Like I was just doing what I needed to do to survive and get by. Then I've had other ones where it's been for a couple months. So it really just depends. But my next question would be, does it look different depending on who left, like for you all? And I mean, you guys can just come out and answer the question however you want to, but does how you respond to a breakup differ if you did it versus if it was done to you?
It's different.
How is it different?
I mean, because if it was done to you, for me personally, if it's done to me, I do what I said. I just move on. I try not to dwell on it. I mean, I'll think about the consequences or whatever. Think about the what ifs or the things for that, but see how long that lasts. But for the most part, you just move on. If it was done to me, move on. For the other person, it just depends on them. Like you said, I mean, everybody has their own way of getting over people or getting over things. It's just different. I don't know how the other person would
Well,
get
no, I'm
over it.
talking about like if you broke up with the person, you act a certain way. But what if the person broke up with you? Is it two different things, or do you act the same for both?
I think I think I have the same for both. Because I mean, there's only one way to get over. For me, is just move on.
In
And
your mind.
if that person don't want to be with me and want to keep moving, and they break up with me, then that's on them. I just accept the consequences and keep going. And if I break up with somebody, I mean, it might be a little different. You might feel a little sorry for breaking up with them, and think about their feelings and emotions and how they're doing. It might dwell on you a little bit more because you're the one doing the breaking up, because you may may put yourself in their shoes and 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 try to manifest the emotion that they may feel, because you're the one that's setting yourself up for that breakup. And when you're setting yourself up to break up with somebody, it's like a whole lot of thoughts that go through with it. So it's
Okay.
it's different.
All right. What about you, Chris?
But I also think it depends on like how the breakup was or what was the reasoning for the breakup. If it was any type of infidelity, then that could be a little bit harsh. But if it's something like it's a mutual parting, like, hey, this ain't working, we need to go our separate ways, then it could be different. I think it's more depends on what was the situation causing the breakup and not really who did the breaking up.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Well, for me, I think it's a difference. Like if somebody breaks up with me, which I had one guy to break up with me.
That's awesome. That's an
I
awesome
had
record.
one guy to break up with me. Usually I'm the person that kind of step up and say XYZ. If it was a second, it would probably be my ex-husband, but we had already came to a conclusion. And then doing the marriage counseling, he just was at the point where he felt like, okay, well, I think we just need to move forward with the divorce. But the actual relationship where someone broke up with me, I knew the relationship was coming to an end, but I wasn't ready to let go. So this person broke up with me and I handled it different. I didn't just okay, I'm going to block this person or whatever. I let the door stay open for a while because I kind of needed to talk with them to process the situation. I knew it was coming to an end. It's almost like, okay, this relationship coming to an end, but no, I'm gonna break up with you when I'm ready, but you ain't gonna break up with me. I wasn't looking forward to him breaking up with me before I was ready to break up with him. So that hurt more than me breaking up with somebody else. So I did leave the door open, and I left the doors open, meaning I didn't block this person right off or anything because I wanted them to contact me so that I could process my thoughts and feelings before I eventually block that person. And it took me a minute to unfriend this person on social media and to finally block them. So I did handle it differently from breaking up with someone.
Yeah, I think it's different for me too. If I do the breakup, I've mentally broken up with that person way before it actually happened. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a slow bleed. Like, it's very obvious that I'm out the door because my behavior is going to be different. So when it actually happens, it's like, let's just freaking take us off life support because like it's dying. In that case, I don't go like hard block, I'm not talking to this person anymore. 9 out of 10, they don't want to talk to me. That's fine. When it's the other way around, again, it depends on how it happens. If you saw the writing on the wall and knew it was coming, then it's kind of like, somebody had to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I think sometimes people stay in a space because no one wants to be the one to do it. And like, well, we know this ain't working, but no one wants to be the one who actually does it. So we're just going to sit here. But if it comes out of nowhere and you're kind of caught off guard, then it's like everything is like disappearing. Like, if I could disappear, I would disappear too, because I need time to process. So it really does depend on what happened, how it happened, who, everything else. So it's very individualistic for me, but at the end of the day, it's more, is it the writing on the wall? Is it a slow bleed? Or is it one where like somebody just comes and like shoot you? Okay, not literally, people. But are you caught off guard? Are you caught off guard? I am not a killer. Stop looking at me like that, Chris. So it definitely comes down to that type of episode or that scenario. But do you guys feel you handle breakups healthy?
That breakup I didn't handle healthy. With the relationship where the guy broke up with me, I was devastated. And you go through the stages of grief. When you break up with someone, there's different stages. You go through I can't believe it. Oh my God. Then you want to bargain. You're angry. It's all of this before you get to the acceptance part of it.
I don't think I've ever bargained. I go straight to, I go straight to I'm pissed. Like, if you walk in front of my car, I might hit you.
Well, yeah. But it wasn't even bargaining with that person that's in your brain. Like in your mind, in my mind, it was, well, maybe if I XYZ, then this will whatever. My bargaining with that one person was never to that person. And then when the anger hit in, I have never been that angry, I don't think, with a guy before. And the person, in the long run, what I really stopped and looked at everything and processed, the person who I was really mad with was myself, because I knew in the beginning stages that this was a relationship that really wasn't going to be a healthy, long-term, fulfilling situation. But because the heart wanted what it wanted, and because when dating that person, I wasn't completely healed from dating someone else, that's what made the whole thing worse. That's why I'm so big on heal from past relationships before you move on to the next, because sometimes when you're dating and you're dating out of pain, you're not really looking through clear lens. And I know I would have hit a day when, and I was getting close to it, where it was going to be like, Keisha, what you doing? This ain't what you want. This is not what you're settling for. But I wasn't ready. When he did it first, I was in my feelings. And it took me a minute. It actually took me over a year to get over that relationship.
So, question. So, because he broke up with you first, did you feel like you were angry because you didn't break up with first?
Yes, and then it was this, I think it was a little bit of, dude, you breaking up with me? Say what? So it's kind of that too, you know what I'm saying?
I'm just listening. What you talking about?
It was an eye-opener, big time. And I'm happy I had that experience too. It taught me a lot. It really did. It taught me to don't date on top of trauma. If you know you already, you're going through something you need to get over. And needless to say, this was the relationship that was right after my divorce. And I think I moved too fast into jumping into a relationship. It was that I don't want to feel the pain, something we talked about in previous episodes. I just wanted to be happy or whatever. Did I see the flags? I saw all the flags. But I just choose to move on. I knew it was going to come to an end, but I wanted to make the decision of when that was going to come to an end. I wasn't expecting him to do so before me. Yeah.
So
healthy. I think my breakup profile is healthy. No one dies. No one freaking gets hurt. Like, I just cease to exist for a little bit. I think that's completely healthy. Like, I don't run to somebody else. I don't do the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody. I don't do that thing. Now, if you are somebody who does it and you're listening, good on you. Like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't lay down with somebody I don't have an attachment to. So I don't feel that my breakup profile is unhealthy. I don't come after people. I just freaking like, dude, it is what it is, and move on. And I do think, again, that's an individualistic thing. I think if certain people would do it, I might have a different reaction. But I haven't had to have a reaction. Let me shut up before I get myself in jail. Chris, what about you?
What you want to know? No, I mean, like, okay, all right. So the whole, I didn't mean for it to come off like that.
But it did.
No, like,
what just...
yeah, and I'm sorry. No, that was my bad. You can edit that out, or you can keep it or whatever. No, but as far as the breakup being, I mean, like you said, that I don't think I've ever broken up with anybody. I think everybody's always broken up with me. Like,
why, Chris?
We want to know why. Why is that?
Why they breaking up with you, Chris?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Why they breaking up with me? I don't. You gotta ask them. I wouldn't break up with me. I think I'm
right, Chris. Yeah.
I think I'm a catch.
Chris. Yes, there you go, Chris.
I wouldn't break up with me, but no, I mean, like people have it's like, hey, this is like it becomes too much. Like, hey, I know what I was getting into, but it becomes too much, and they break up with me. But what does it mean? Because one of these mushroom moments, and I hate to do it early on, but it's like, okay, you break up with somebody. and someone breaks up with you, but then they come back. Like, so it's like, all right, so you broke up with me, but now you coming back, and I'm like, well, so I don't know, but I mean,
but what changed? What was different?
I'm like,
when they came back.
I don't know. I'm the same person. I don't know. Maybe they want the old thing back.
Oh my gosh.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like, but that's, yeah. I mean, but like I said, but I think more so, and I hate to do the male, female, man, woman thing, but I think like breaking up is, and I know this is going to get people upset, I think breaking up is more so a woman's thing to do. Like a guy, it's very rare that a guy is going to be the one to initiate.
Or is that just your experience because you keep getting dumped?
No, I mean,
I'm just saying, call it what it is. Break up, dump. You keep
like,
getting.
How you just gonna say I keep getting dumped? No, but I mean, but if you think about, no, if you think about, if you look at relationships, and when relationships end, I don't know the statistics, but I'm pretty sure it's more times than not, and I would say over 85-90% of the time, it's the woman doing the breaking up.
Chris, I agree.
My last breakup was done to me. A dude did it. So I'm just saying, your statistics suck.
See, no, hold on. See, no, now it's not like, hey, the guy did this and like he was breaking up, but I'm just the person that says, and I'm sorry we're getting off tangent, and I know like I don't mean to do this. I don't mean to do this, but no, like it's the. I mean,
I see what you're saying, Chris, with female breaking up with guys and stuff. But I kind of, I don't know. But most of the time, I feel like I think a woman has more emotional connection in the relationship. So I feel like sometimes it's more the man that does more of the, sometimes more the breaking up, like with divorces and things like that. On that point, which sometimes, men just get caught up with their eyes and what they see and thinking that things may be green on the other side, but it may be 50-50, but it might be a little slightly on the male side.
I got some stats. I
think it's more on the male side.
I have a question though. Do you think sometimes that breakup is necessary so you don't hurt the opposite person? And that's for everybody.
No, I mean, I think so. And I think like a lot of times people, when you talk about that not wanting to hurt somebody, but I think that's why like people won't break up. So like, I think Michelle said it, like when she finally decides to cut somebody off, it's been over a long time ago. So it's like, hey, this relationship, I'm going to break it off right now, but the relationship has probably been over 3-4 months, or maybe a year. And you just kind of been holding on because nobody wanted to do that.
Sometimes it can be in that point as far as like breaking up with someone to, I guess, save face or save their emotions or keep the person from getting hurt, or try to maybe that could be a reason. But I do think that some people, instead of, they still like to think that they're breaking up with that person just to save their feelings, but you got to consider the feelings that they have also when you do that. And sometimes you create a big mess when that happens, from that situation. So with that being said, though, I mean, so what does like a self-assessment look like for you after a breakup? Chris, let's go with you.
So y'all just put me on the spot. I mean, a self-assessment after a breakup, I mean, first of all, I just think of like, hey, well, it all depends on how long I was involved with said person. So, I mean, it's the difference between if it's somebody you've been involved with for, let's say, 3 or 4 months versus 3 or 4 years. So you just sit back and you think about, hey, well, what is it that, when was everything going good? And when did it turn wrong? And then you just assess like, hey, well, Could I have handled things differently? A lot of times, yes, you could have. But then you just kind of go into just making sure you don't make that same mistake twice. And I think that's kind of where I'm at far as, and I know recently, I'll say in the past year, I've been reflecting on past relationships and seeing, hey, where did things go wrong? And okay, moving forward, I don't want to do those things again.
Yeah. So basically, you just look. So you self-assess. You assess like your past relationships and see what the mistakes or what the problems were, the issues at that time, and then try to correct that behavior. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying, because I mean, I'll say, and I'm man enough to admit that majority of times it has been my fault for as why relationships has ended. So I'm like, hey, well, what am I doing wrong? And then if it's the same thing going on every single time, then it's like, all right, well, maybe I need to.
So basically, with your self-assessment, you're just looking over your past and doing that thing. So yeah, and I understand that. I think a lot of us do that as far as like solving our self-assessments and just looking at what we may have contributed to the breakup and what added on to that. So Nikisha, what's your self-assessment look like?
This is after the breakup. After I get past my ill feelings towards the person, I do process my thoughts and try to look back on it and say, okay, what was my wrongs in this? What are some areas what was my red flags? What was some areas that I may hadn't been my best and contribute to this breakup? So I try to look back on it. And I also look at the person too, the guy, to see, okay, at what point did you notice this guy showed this flag? At what point? Was it early on? Why did you choose to look past that? So I try to assess the situation, and from just doing my own personal reflection, just take whatever I learned from that and just move forward and not make the same mistakes.
So you just move forward from just learn from the mistakes that was caused. Do you ever like look at what you did and try to?
Absolutely. Like sometimes I was the problem.
In what way?
You know? And I think in what way I was the problem? Sometimes being a little selfish, not willing to compromise. I think in those would probably be the highlights right there.
So have you? Your self-assessment. Have you worked on that selfishness and that? Right there.
Yes. I'm mindful. I am mindful of it. So I'm trying to make sure that and what? And a lot of this, I think, to help prevent this too, is just having open communication. And sometimes you need to do a check-in throughout the relationship just to see how we going. Is things going the way we would like them to go? What can I do to make things better? Or where's the area I need to probably pull back from? I think doing those ongoing check-ins, it helps.
That's good. That's good. Michelle, what is your
I don't do nothing wrong.
That's the problem right there.
Next question. No, I'm joking. So
no.
Period. Next question. No, I think for me. Wow, this is gonna sound very narcissistic of me. I don't know. Like, I don't know what. Okay. You know what, Chris? Oh, I can be fickle. I can be fickle at times. I can be hard to read at times. I can be fickle, hard to read. Emotionally.
Take your time.
What? Hold up, both of y'all. What?
Ooh.
No. We just saying. Just take your time.
Emotionally unavailable.
So emotionally unavailable. You said fickly, or what did you say?
Fickle, hard to read, and emotionally unavailable.
So you just go blank. kind of like
A robot.
this robot mentality. So that's your self-assessment of how you do after breakup.
I mean, that's pretty much a lot of the reasons. Unless it comes out of nowhere, like, because there's been times where it comes out of nowhere and you don't expect it and you're like, what the hell? But the ones where you're like, I see it coming, yeah, emotionally unavailable, fickle, and hard to read. That would be my main three.
Gotcha.
After I do a self-assessment.
Gotcha. I get okay. So for myself, I kind of like Keisha. I kind of look at the and like Chris, kind of look at the past relationship, try to see what I did wrong, try to improve on that point, and that's mostly what I kind of do. And, try to work. I didn't always was like that. Never thought about doing a self-assessment. I just kept moving. But past in the past lately, I just mostly just been checking myself and looking at what I did wrong, and I'm not trying to beat myself up for it, but just moving past it. So yeah. So with that being said,
but you know what? I still think I am fickle and hard to read. I think it's just my personality.
Do you? I mean, sometimes it just depends on that person. I mean, some people can be fickle and hard to read, but
I think it keeps it fun. It's like mental gymnastics.
Protection. Are you trying to? You got that wall up for protection, maybe?
Wall.
But it's fun too. It's a little
fun
bit
to have a wall up.
Fun for who? For who?
Is that fun for who? Like, I mean, you playing mind
Is that
games
what that is?
almost.
It is mind game.
That's exactly what it sounds like. That's exactly what it sounds like.
You just said it's fun.
Mental gymnastics.
Gymnastics.
Because it keeps the other person on their toes. Who wants to be with somebody that you figured out?
I don't know about
really?
that. I mean,
that would be boring.
But hold up. No, hold up. So you want to be with somebody that you always got to guess what's going on with them, and and I'm saying this from being that person that people can't pick up on that and they don't know what to think. And I know for a fact I couldn't be with someone that's like me, because I know how I am, and I don't know. And then you are purposely. It's almost like you're purposely doing this. Like I don't purposely.
I wouldn't say purposely.
How I'm made up. You just.
I don't like wake up today and say, how am I going to keep this person guessing? It's just my personality.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
Well, thank you, Chris. Thank you for agreeing. I feel complete now.
Yeah. No. I know. No. Oh, wow. No, but I can definitely agree with that, because sometimes you want to.
I guess.
Okay. now it makes sense. I mean, sometimes I get to the point where you want to keep people on their toes, but to make it sound like almost playing a game.
No. If that's what it sounded like, I did not mean to sound. People listening, I'm not that. Like, it's just my personality.
Okay. All right.
So Michelle.
So we're two of the same.
Touche.
That's right. So why is it important? Why is it important to you to do a self-assessment, Michelle?
Okay, so if it is something that, like before, I would say I had issues. I swear to goodness, if one of y'all start laughing, I'm gonna box all of you. I did have issues with control, and
you did have issues, or you do have
issues? Present tense, dude.
I had issues. I had serious issues with control, but
come on now, let's be truthful.
I said I had.
Get your deliverance tonight, honey. Get your deliverance.
Yeah,
tonight.
Come on. Yeah, let's be truthful.
I had serious control issues. Now I have
HAVE.
Now I have issues where I can see it when it's happening, and I fall back off them. So the self-assessment has allowed me to say, okay, I can be spoiled. I am spoiled. Fine. That could cause issues. I had serious control issues. And now they're kind of minimized because I'm trying to work through them. Sometimes I can be a know it all, slightly condescending, but shut up. Oh, I hate the looks right now. I hate the looks. What I will say is it was a self assessment to bring awareness to that. So it's like, oh, I can be a smartass that goes a little bit too far. I can be a bit condescending. I can be a bit know it all. I can want everything my way. But I mean, my self assessment allowed me to see that. So, yes, it's helpful. Yes, I've used it. And I am in recovery.
Gotcha.
There. You happy now? You got it all out of me. Jeez.
Appreciate it. Don't that feel
Deliverance
good?
feels good.
Keisha, what about you? Why is it important? Why is it important?
What about
me,
Marcus?
Why is it
Marcus, what about me,
important
Marcus?
to do a self-assessment? Why is it important?
So you can identify your ways. You have to listen, man. In order for things to get better with relationships or anything, you have to see your flaws, see the things that you're doing right as well as your flaws. You have to see it. Because if every time you got a relationship, it's always that person and you don't play no parts in it, something is seriously wrong because nobody is perfect. So I think that's why it's important.
Appreciate that. So, just identify your flaws. Because nobody's perfect.
You have to.
So what are yours, Marcus?
What?
I mean, I'm saying, pull the list out, an itemized list. I got one.
What you got? What you got? I have. Okay, it's important self-assessment. I feel like because I discovered that I know I'm selfish. I got a smart mouth. I can say things that could trigger people. It's something that I had a problem with because I could figure out what would be a trigger for somebody and I use it. And I've done that. So I figure out so if I wasn't getting my way, that's that selfishness that was coming up, I would
selfish and spoiled? Wow, what a combination.
Yeah, do that. And I don't think I'm spoiled.
I think you're spoiled. I mean, it's just an outside looking in. I'm just saying, from what you just said, it sounded like spoiled. But
yeah, I guess it's spoiled in like maybe in relationships or whatever. I guess I don't know, but I don't know about spoiled, like whatever. But maybe like that. But it's important to have a self-assessment because you can discover those things that cause some rifts in the relationship. So I think that it is having a.
How about the ghosting thing?
Yeah, I did not mention that, but yeah, I could disappear.
Tell the truth, shame the devil. I'm saying y'all came for me.
I can ghost like with the best of them. I mean,
the best. Michael Phelps only got nothing on you when it comes to gold medals. If it was ghosting,
nothing wrong with ghosting.
Says the other ghost. Says the other ghost.
I think sometimes people ghost and they go and retreat, but they're always watching, kind of like the wolf. They're always somewhere peeping and watching.
Yeah, it's almost like a spirit just watching over you. Like I'm not around, but I am around. I'm still looking over at times. Right so look, man, it's just what it is. Like, hey, I mean, it's
Chris, why is self-assessment important to you, Chris? Yeah, yeah.
I thought we already talked about it. No, I mean, well, it's very important so you know like who you are and like how you are, most importantly, in relationships. And I know like we've all talked about how we are and everything. Now with me, I know I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole. I will admit I'm an asshole. I tell people I'm up front.
Post edit hand claps right here. Tom 5618. We got to give you a standing ovation for that one.
I know. I mean, see, come on, man. Like, I'm an ass. I mean, I've always said I'm an asshole. I'm fine with
an asshole, Chris. Why you think you're an asshole?
See, I mean, well, it's like I wouldn't say I'm a little bit selfish, but I'm a little selfish. But like, if I tell people all the time, if I rock with you, I rock with you. But I mean, it's still, I'm gonna always think about me, and I'm gonna just be an asshole. As far as I might say some stuff to you, and I don't mean it in a harmful way, but it's gonna come off like that.
So you don't have tact.
I mean, and some people can deal with it. Yeah, I don't have tact. I don't have time for tact. And I don't have time for tact.
The alcohol has kicked in. Just letting you know.
How
man, like, yo, really? Really? Don't do that.
Chris, how does a typical relationship go with you? What's just a typical relationship? What does that look like?
What do you mean by that?
If we were getting into a relationship, how would that look? If we were getting into a relationship,
run.
I mean, like you said. Wow. No. Oh, you gonna be running. But no, go ahead, edit that out. But it's I'm a very caring person. It's like, but it's sometimes where it's like, I'm gonna tell you, I lack empathy. If it's something, and that's something that I'm working on. I lack empathy. Where if it's something that's important to you, if it's not important to me, I would like shrug it off and just be like, yo, man, it's no big deal. Now I have learned in the past couple years that you have to be more aware if something is important to somebody else. Now you have to, I ain't gonna say you have to like be fully involved with it, but you have to understand that, hey, if this is important to them, you have to show that it has a little bit of importance to you. So I have been working on that. But I mean, like I said, we're gonna have fun. Like you said, if I rock with you, we're gonna have a good time.
So when you said if something is important to somebody else, you have to act like it's important to you. So are you?
No, not act. And I'm sorry, that's the wrong word. Not act like, but I mean, just if something is important to somebody, no, like I remember, like let's talk about love languages, and we might be getting off topic here, but talk about love languages. And if let's say for instance, my love language is physical touch and quality time. Those are my top two love languages. If it's somebody else's love language was acts of service or words of affirmation, then it's just letting them know. Like a lot of times people just want to know, hey, well, you're doing a good job, or I appreciate you. And they want to know those things. And for me, I'm like, look, man, if I tell you, like, I mean, I might say thank you, but they want more than a thank you. So it's like kind of knowing exactly what their love languages
learning
are.
That person.
And knowing how people want to be loved.
Learning that person through the relationship. Mm-hmm. Got you.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've done this, we've done our self-assessment, we've done what it looked like, we figure out what's important. And so what about getting ready to start over again? Either going back into that same relationship or starting over for yourself or starting a whole new relationship, whether you're being, versus being scared or even trying to attempt. How does that look? I mean, how do you know you're ready? I mean, Keisha, you look like you want to say something. Go ahead.
How do you know you're ready? When you can have a conversation with someone new, like if I meet another guy and I'm not sitting there trying to compare them to my ex, I'm not sitting there talking a lot about my ex, I know that I'm ready. And just to throw in there, that's one thing I taught myself not to do so much when meeting somebody, just having this conversation so much about my past. You know what I'm saying? It will come out in time, but I just want to throw that in there. But when I can have that conversation, not compare them, and I feel like, you know what, I'm over that person. Many times too, and this is a little off task, but when you know that you're over that person, you usually cross that person again within, I don't know, whether it's face to face, on the phone, or whatever. When you don't feel that same thing you used to feel for them, that's for me an indicator letting me know that I'm over that person too.
So
yeah,
basically, when you meet someone new, basically like you try not, you're not talking about the ex anymore. You're focused on that guy or whatever, and you're not talking about. So you feel like that's when you know you're ready.
Right. And I'm not sitting there in my head comparing that person to my ex, whether it's the good or the bad.
I would say, you just saying, far as like when you're ready to move forward with a new relationship.
Yeah, or go back into that same point.
If it's something like far as being healthy, and if you can talk to somebody, like if it's like a previous relationship, and you can talk to them, like, hey, stuff is not right. Like, and you can have that open communication for us moving forward on, hey, this is what I'm looking for. These are my expectations. What are yours? And getting their expectations.
So
and then come into an agreement. But then if it's like starting over new, we start over new. Don't bring any of that extra baggage. Like, I know I've dealt with individuals who were bringing in that baggage from previous relationships. And I'm like, don't bring that crap. Man.
So
I ain't like, I got my own stuff that I'm dealing with. I ain't got time to deal with that previous dude stuff. Like, leave that at the door.
So is it like if you going into say if you're going back into back to another person like that you already had a relationship with, is there some type of fear that comes along with that, going back again?
I don't think it's fear. I think it's more so because you know this person and you don't want to kind of go down. Because the worst thing you can do is go back with somebody and then you fall back right down that same trap, that previous trap. So it's like, I don't want to go back down through that. But if it's somebody that you feel as though, hey man, this is a good person, I really want to make it work with this person. So it's like, hey, like, you have to put in the work, but then also have to know that they're willing to put in whatever work is needed as well. But like I said, the main thing I always talk about is communication. Yep. And communication, it seems so simple, but it's the hardest thing to work on. Like, not even like in like intimate relationships, just like relationships with family, co-workers, anybody. Like, communication is key in anything. Okay. And that's the thing that I'm learning. Like, you gotta be able to know how to communicate with people.
I appreciate the response, Chris. That's good, man.
Okay, I'll go now. I think for me personally, it has to be people from the outside to say, okay, like, you got to do something. And I'm one of the introverts on here. Chris says he's an introvert. I'm very dubious about that. But as an introvert, we stay in our heads. And it's like, I like it here. I like it here in my head. I like it here in my tower, right? And it's like, I really don't feel the need to go out and meet people. So you have to have people who are like, you don't want to die by yourself. You got to get out. You got to meet people. How I guess for me, how I would know would be there's no leftover residual ick or pain. Like, when you think back about the situation or the person, you're not having an emotional response, right? But then that doesn't still mean you want to do stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it still doesn't mean you want to go find somebody and be with that person. You still might want to be by yourself. And that's completely fine. But I think you definitely need to resolve whatever internal demons you're working with as it relates to that relationship. Because I'm a firm believer that no one is perfect. So you're not going to find a perfect partner. Everybody you meet's going to have an issue. Everybody you meet's going to have a problem. So it's really coming down to, are these issues is this person important enough where you can manage or deal with those issues? Because you're not going to find anybody perfect. So you're definitely going to have to find people or somebody that you can deal with, and not bring somebody else's experience to the new experience. Or even if you're going backwards and circling back around, not bringing the old experience to the new experience, because it's not going to work. So that's my answer. What about you, Marcus?
Well, I don't have an answer.
That is not an answer, sir.
Man. Well, I mean, you're ready. Like, I mean, I take from Keisha and I take from Chris. Once you develop the communication, or you've been able to talk to someone else without having to bring up that ex or something like that across your mind. But you can, I mean, just to be for real, I mean, sometimes you can talk to a person and not bring up your ex, but you'll be thinking about him or her. Something like that. I mean, because it can happen. But when you come to that point where you are okay with that, person dealing with them and not being able to just not lose that emotional connection that you have with that person, then I feel like you are ready to move on. So that's what I think versus that.
Okay.
But I know we're kind of running out of time. We need to wrap it up. So
so we're gonna wrap it up. So this was a very truth-telling, deep diving, transparent episode here. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to process this for a minute. What y'all got? Any advice? Last roll call. Any advice for people who are like, am I ready to go back into this pool of piss that they call the dating scene? Am I ready for this? What type of advice would you give these people? I'm gonna start with Keisha first.
They don't give up. I mean, if you give up, then you're never gonna make that connection with the person that's for you. I would say be aware of past mistakes from other people as well as yourself, and make sure you have open communication and move forward. Life goes on. Life is not going to stop for anybody. So at some point, I mean, it's okay to take stops or slow down just to process and get past that person, but you have to continue to go on. So that would be my tip for everyone.
All right, what about you, Chris?
It's horrible out here. It's I mean, like, everyone, I mean, you can find someone, but make sure that you're going about it the right way. Make sure that they are going about it the right way as well. But it's rough out here. These streets is not for everyone.
Chris, what you said remind me of a song. I can't remember the name of the movie where it's hard for a pimp.
It's hard out here for a pimp. Yeah, it's hard. Look, it's hard out here for a pimp. I won't gonna say that, but it's tough out here. Like, and for real, it's tough. It's tough for women, especially, but it's tough for like the men out here as well. Like, I mean, because that's a whole nother podcast. But I don't want to like drag this on too much longer. But it's tough out here. So I would tell anybody, if you got somebody, hold them tight. You don't want to be out here in these streets.
Damn, that was some gloom. That was depressing as hell, Chris. What about you? What about you, Marcus?
Be self-aware.
How do you follow that?
You can't. You just gotta be aware of yourself. Know yourself. With your likes and dislikes. Do your self checks. Make sure you're ready before you go out there. Love yourself. Love yourself first. Don't go out there and just do anything crazy.
Just jump on into stuff. So, and my answer would be be honest. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with the person. Be honest. Like, what do you want?
Stop thinking about what I want, what he wants, what your parents want. What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want?
And be willing to receive feedback if you're going off track, and keep that communication open. You know what I'm saying? Like, if this is something that you do, or this is a trait that you have, or you are just crazy busy with life, or you're dealing with a whole bunch of this, that, and the other, be honest with the person you're interacting with, because let them make the choice or the decision to say, okay, I want to deal with this or not. And you have to be honest with yourself and not accept something that, this is not really what I want, but it's here, so I'm gonna deal with it. Like that's a recipe for disaster. So yeah, this was a very engaging episode. I had fun with Marcus, Chris, and Keisha. So again, you guys can find us on our website, www.thelookingglass.fans, on our Instagram, on our Facebook. I'm trying to talk the fellas into doing some videos so we can get a TikTok going. So we need some feedback from the females out there to try to get these guys on video, because they keep telling us no. You've seen me and Keisha lip sync on multiple videos. So we are challenging the men.
They can subscribe to my OnlyFans,
which has subscription count of 0. So I'm sorry, I'm lying. He has one, which is himself. So definitely find us on our Facebook, our Instagram, our website. And as always, you guys take care, stay safe, be well.